Is LSU more dangerous after the firing of Brian Kelly? What's up, everybody? Welcome back into Tide Talk Live. Stacy Blackwood, joined as always by my good buddy Jake Thomas here on the Believe Network as we get ready to kind of give an early look into this Alabama versus LSU matchup in Tuscaloosa on Saturday night. Can't wait for that game to get here. But before we do all that, make sure you do like, share, and subscribe here on YouTube. Jump in the comment section, give us your thoughts on this matchup. And also, since we are powered by the Believe Network, you can find us wherever you find your podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, wherever you find your podcast. Just search Tide Talk Live. Make sure you subscribe, download, and enjoy us on those platforms as well. Jake, a lot has happened in the SEC in terms of how it relates to Alabama since we last spoke. As we recapped Alabama's win over South Carolina, of course, we kind of took a bye week with the Crimson Tide last week and took the week off, kind of got to regroup and get ready for this matchup against LSU in the back quarter of this season with 4 games remaining here in 2025. And obviously, the team Alabama is going to be playing is going to be having interim head coach with Brian Kelly being fired. But the most recent news that is, related to Alabama is that Hugh Freeze has been fired as the Auburn head football coach. And not going to spend a lot of time here, Jake. Just kind of your quick thoughts on Freeze being fired and maybe who you think they're going to potentially hire as their next head football coach.
I think it was a little too soon, Stacey. I mean, he was that dang close.
So close.
Yes, so close. So, no, in all seriousness, I think at this point, it probably should have happened maybe a few weeks ago, but you could tell that offense against a bottom feeder in Kentucky, and no disrespect to Kentucky, but they've been horrendous this year, just like Auburn has. But I would have imagined they could have moved the ball a little bit better against Kentucky, but they couldn't, and that just shows that he didn't have any. I don't know. It seems like Hugh didn't have any confidence in any of his quarterbacks. You got Deuce Knight just rotting away on if he's the guy that's going to be the future, you got to get him playing now. And DJ Durkin, I think he's going to take over interim. He may do that. I'm not sure, but offensively, they've got to do something different. And Hugh just could not seem to put it together offensively. And, he's known to be an offensive mind, and it just never clicked at Auburn with him.
Yeah, obviously, it's not very surprising
Right.
that he was removed as the head coach, and it was a long time coming. I mean, they've just crazy to think about, Jake. 6-16 in conference games under Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
6-16. They've lost 3 home games this year.
Right. Yeah.
And Jordan Hare is known as a team where or a place where opponents don't want to go play because it's so tough to win there. But Hugh Freeze has just not been able to get it done, and it's all because of the offense. I mean, it's point blank, period. Mm-hmm. They have one of the best, if not the best, defense in the SEC, in my opinion, led by DJ Durkin, and you've got a lot of good players on that side of the football. They play good team defense. But offensively, putrid is the only word I can think of to describe what that Auburn offense has looked like. When you can only score 3 points at home against Kentucky.
Yeah, that's awful.
That's terrible. And you start Ashton Daniels, and it looks just like it did under Jackson Arnold. And then to start the fourth quarter, you throw Jackson Arnold back out there. Then later in the fourth quarter, you throw Ashton Daniels back out there. It was at that moment you obviously could see that Hugh Freeze was grasping for straws.
Yeah.
And his time was up at Auburn. And, we talked a lot about, and nobody wanted to listen to us. I say nobody. A lot of people didn't want to listen to us, especially Auburn fans. They thought Hugh Freeze was going to turn this program around. But we tried to tell people he went 5-7 in his last year at Ole Miss, including 2-6 in conference play.
Mm-hmm.
And then at Liberty against inferior competition, he went 8-5, 10-1, 8-5, 8-4. So it's not like he was just, rallying off 10-2 and 11 win seasons.
Right.
At Liberty. So I'm not sure exactly what people were expecting. He inherited a complete mess from Brian Harsin. Now, I'll give him credit for this. The roster is in a much better spot than what it was when he arrived there, so that part is good. But at the end of the day, you have to win football games, and Hugh Freeze's record at Auburn was 15-19 and 6-16 in conference play, and that is not going to get it done at a program like Auburn. Real quick, Jake, if you just had to put money on it, who do you think they hire?
That's a very good question, Stacey. There's with the openings in the SEC, LSU, Florida, Auburn.
They're both better jobs than Auburn.
They are. Let's just be honest about it. Auburn's better than Arkansas, maybe, because Arkansas can get a ton in NIL money because they got big boosters. But I would say they're number 3 right now.
Yeah.
So if LSU doesn't go out to Summerall, Auburn's got to go out to Summerall for sure. I think he'll be a good fit because he kind of knows the Southeast. But I would probably put my money on him being one. But I'd also have to look at DJ Durkin. He's got head coaching experience. Your defense is playing lights out under him. He's probably coached himself into a head coaching gig for next year, so you have potential to lose him as well. So Auburn's kind of in a sticky situation, Stacey, honestly.
Yeah, the fact that they're the third best opening in their own conference right now, that's got to be tough. You got to think the Penn State job is open as well. That's a better job than Auburn. So I just, where do they go? And now it may work out. And I'm like you, if I was to put money on it, John Summerall would be the guy that I think gets hired as the Auburn head football coach. But you're looking at a guy that has 4 years of head coaching experience in college football.
Right.
It was at Troy and Tulane. So, it's a little bit of a gamble if you're Auburn.
It is.
Now, I think he's a good coach, but that may not translate to Auburn.
In the SEC, sure, for sure.
So I'm with you. They're in a little bit of a predicament because I think LSU is going to have the first choice, then Florida, and then Auburn in the SEC. But you're still having to compete with what Penn State going to do. Kentucky's I think Kentucky's likely going to be open as well. Now that's obviously a bottom feeder job in terms of football in the conference, but John Summerall played at Kentucky. If that job comes open, does he want to go coach alma mater? So there's just a lot of variables that are not working in Auburn's favor right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what John Cohen and the administration there at Auburn can do to get a head coach. A name that I would not just completely write off is Jimbo Fisher.
Oh yeah, he's been brought up a couple of times. I've seen.
He's coached at Auburn before.
Yep.
He's won a national championship. He knows how to recruit. So we'll see. Now Auburn fans don't want him, and I can understand why. But that might be what you get.
Yeah, might be for sure.
All right, Jake. That's enough Auburn talk. Enough Hugh Freeze talk. I just want to, as we kind of look at this Alabama LSU matchup here early in the week, and we'll obviously do our full preview and prediction show later in the week. I just kind of want to, LSU to me, obviously they fired Brian Kelly. They've got an interim head coach. Was it Frank Wilson? Is that his name?
I think so. The offense coordinator.
Yeah. Well, no, he was. Yeah, Frank Wilson. He's the running backs coach.
Running backs coach. Yeah.
And he's the interim now. But anytime you play a team, like you go back and look at this Georgia-Florida game, you're playing a team that's got an interim head coach. They fired their coach. I think Florida had a kind of a breath of fresh air in their program. I feel the same way about LSU going in this matchup. Now, look, Alabama should win. They're the better team. They're at home. They have more to play for than what LSU has. But what is dangerous about this LSU team is, despite what their record is, despite that they fired their coach, they have dudes on that team.
Yeah.
And so that's scary. That's just the truth. They have dudes on each side of the football that can make winning plays and beat you if you don't show up ready to play. I guess what I want to ask you, Jake, is in terms of what scares you the most about the matchup going into it with LSU, what would that be?
I guess it would be the determination factor of LSU, how they going to come out and play under this interim head coach. You mentioned a little bit about Florida and how they played, but look at UCLA. Look what UAB has done or did with the interim head coach. They come out inspired, They beat an undefeated Memphis team. UCLA went on that big run for a while under an interim coach. So it, like you said, it does bring a breath of fresh air, and there is guys all over that field for LSU. And then Wilt Wheats, he's talking about probably playing this week. That's going to be a big concern. So I'm just to see how this LSU team responds under new interim coach, and I don't think the scheme is going to change much because I mean it's kind of hard to put in a new scheme in 2 weeks. But I think you're probably going to see more conscious effort on getting a running game going. I forgot their running back, but he looked really good in spurts against A&M until they just absolutely laid an egg and quit in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, you brought up the rushing attack for LSU. They're a lot like Alabama offensively. The running game has not been what it needs to be. And with Frank Wilson, the running backs coach, kind of being that interim head coach, I think that they are I'm like you. I think they're going to make a concentrated effort to run the football. And they do have some talented guys. I mean, Cade Durham's a good player. Harlan Berry's a good player, a freshman back. So and they're kind of a different style backs. Cade Durham's more that Jam Miller physical guy. Then you have Harlan Berry, who's quicker, more explosive, can kind of hit their home run plays. So I'm with you. I think you're not going to change a ton in, like you mentioned, in terms of scheme, but you can change how you go about executing what you want to do.
Right.
And so I do think they're going to make a better effort to run the football. Obviously, Garrett Nussmeier coming to the season as one of the most coveted quarterbacks in the country. He's been battling injuries. I'm sure the bye week kind of helped him get a little more healthy. I know he's still not going to be 100%. Not even sure what all is wrong with him this year, but you can just tell by the way he plays that he's not 100%, that he's beat up, he's banged up, he's bruised, he's broke nearly. He's just battling a lot right now. So he's not been as good as what we anticipated, but they have playmakers, Jake. Aaron Anderson, the kid, Barian Brown, who transferred from Kentucky, the 6'7" tight end who's got, a catch radius of 20 feet,
I
I feel
know.
like.
Yeah.
I mean, so they have playmakers on the offensive side of the football, but the offensive line has really been a struggle for LSU, both in the run game and also in pass protection. And I know Alabama fans are not happy with the way Alabama's offensive line is played, but it's been a lot better and more consistent than what LSU has experienced this year. And that's kind of led to, everybody's kind of wondered, well, what's happened to LSU this year offensively? Well, it's like we always talk about for Alabama. There's always an explanation for things.
Right.
Now, sometimes the explanation is you didn't got enough dudes. That's not the
Mhm.
case for LSU. The explanation for LSU is the offensive line has not lived up to what they should be.
Mhm.
Garrett Nussmeier's been injured the entire year,
Yeah.
and they have no running game.
Mhm.
So it should be no surprise that the offense has struggled a little bit. And now, Jake, defensively for LSU, they're about the middle of the conference in terms of team defense, both in yards and points per game. But I think if you're an LSU fan, what concerns you as you head into the back the back end of the season is, South Carolina ran it all over you, Vanderbilt ran it all over you, and Texas A&M ran it all over you.
Mhm.
Now, Alabama has not had much of a threat off, in a running game this year, but I still think that has to concern you a little bit if you're an LSU fan in terms of being able to slow down Alabama's running game. Because if you allow Alabama to run the football along with what they can do in the air, then that's not a recipe for success for LSU. But in terms of what makes this LSU defense dangerous, they have enough dudes on that side of the football to make plays.
Mhm.
Harold Perkins can make plays.
Yeah.
Whit Weeks can make plays. His brother, what's his name?
Yeah.
Weeks.
I
He
don't
can
remember.
make
Yeah.
plays.
Mhm.
They got that corner who transferred from somewhere last year. That's he's probably going to be a first round pick. They have the freshman corner who's like Dijon Lee, a 6'4" guy who can cover a lot of ground. So they have dudes on that defense that can make plays. So
Yeah.
look, there's very few teams in the country who can match up dude for dude with Alabama, and LSU is one of those teams. So
Right.
I just hope that this coaching staff, that these players on this team, that the Alabama fans are not taking this game lightly simply because Brian Kelly has been fired.
Right. They're, we shouldn't at all, because even with an interim coach, they're still going to be. They still would have been a dangerous team under Brian Kelly. I know it hasn't looked like it this year, but like you just mentioned, Stacey, they can go toe for toe. They have the dudes to go toe for toe with anybody in this conference. They just have had some rotten luck on offensive side of the ball this year.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting game. Now, obviously, we'll get to our picks later this week, but I mean, I feel confident that we're both going to pick Alabama to win. I think they're sitting around a 10.5 point favorite. The last I seen, have you seen anything lately on that, Jake?
No, the last I saw was 10.5 as well.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it up real quick. Well, it's 9.5 right now on FanDuel.
Okay.
So about a 10 point. Alabama's about a 10 point favorite right now. I would feel comfortable picking Alabama to win by about 10 or so,
Mhm.
but you get a little bit higher than that, and it gets a little uncomfortable simply because I know what kind of dudes they have, and I
Mhm.
know they're going to come into Tuscaloosa with a lot of energy and with something to prove.
Yeah,
And that makes
absolutely.
them dangerous. That makes them dangerous. Whether anybody else wants to admit it or not, it makes them dangerous.
It does, and they have a pretty decent front seven defensively. So our offensive line has got to be ready for the challenge, especially Caden Proctor and Wilkin Formby or Michael Carroll, whoever's going to be at right tackle.
Do you think, real quick, do you think Jaden Roberts is the guy at right guard?
Uh, yeah, he played really, really well.
I think I
I
think
think
I
he
think
is.
I think he's the guy at right guard.
Yeah, I do too. He played really well the other day.
All right, I'm gonna throw a wrench real quick before we head out. I wanna go ahead and get one of your bold predictions for Saturday
Oh,
night.
all right, don't let me forget it, so I don't. I can say it again. Whenever we do the
Good
show,
thing
but
this is recorded because I'm gonna forget.
yeah. Bold prediction. I'm going to save my offensive side of the ball. I'm
Okay.
going to do defensive.
Okay.
A guy who I was kind of upset with last week because of just two just boneheaded penalties, or 2 weeks ago, James Smith, jumping off sides twice. I think he has a big game, and I think he gets to Nussmeier and gets 2 sacks in this game.
Okay, you
Mhm,
semi stole what my defensive one is going to be, so I'll kind of save that for our preview and prediction show and bold
mhm,
prediction show here this week. So since you went defensive side, I'll go offensive side real quick.
mhm.
And what I'm going to say is I'm going to say Lottie Brooks has his first career 100-yard receiving day.
I love it. I'm ready to see that kid back on the field.
Me too. Me too. 1 week without him playing,
Yeah.
it felt like an eternity.
Yeah, we talked about it.
He's
You
such
know,
a difference maker.
he is. We talked about it in our review show. It just seemed like the offense was lost without him on the field. And I mean, it's nothing changed. We just could not move the ball. We didn't have a safety blanket. It seemed like, and it just seems like Ty goes to him when he needs to.
He's a chain mover. He's a
He
chain
is.
mover.
He is.
All right, guys. Hey, that's going to wrap this episode up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like we said, if you haven't already, subscribe here on YouTube, subscribe to us on podcast platforms as well. Make sure you do like this video and jump in the comments and give us your thoughts and opinions on our show and your thoughts on the matchup coming up on Saturday night in Tuscaloosa. But once again, thank you for watching. We'll see you real soon. And until then, roll tide.
Roll Tide.